Hi, everybody. I want to welcome you to another Fuzzy Slipper edition of Cape Conversations. We're going to have some fun today. We're going to talk to somebody with the middle name of Wing. I think they're pretty famous. If they've got the name of Wing, and you live in Sandwich, that would be a famous person. And she's going to tell us all about this wonderful, wonderful foundation that's here in Sandwich that's helping out people in Sandwich. What a concept. So come along. Let's have another Cape conversation. Hi, everybody. I am so excited to have another Fuzzy Slipper edition of the wonderful Cape Conversations in my own living room, as you can see. And with me today is, well, she's quite fancy because of her middle name, but we'll get to that later. Anyway, I am sitting with the wonderful Madeline Wing Adler. Hello, Madeline.
Hello, hello.
And you are with the Fun for Sandwich.
Correct.
What do you do with them?
Well, I'm one of four members of the advisory committee of the Fund for Sandwich. The other three members are Paula Johnson, Tom Houlihan, and Tom Rockwell. And we run ourselves, we are a charity, a 501c3 charity affiliated with the Cape Cod Foundation.
I see.
And so we're a town fund.
And what do you do with the millions of dollars you have?
Well, I wish we could get millions of dollars, but we are a real young town charity. We are one of four town funds. We were the third. Falmouth was the first. Chatham was the second. Yes, they do much better than we do in Little Sandwich, but we've been going since 2017.
Excellent.
And under normal times, we bring in donations from the community. And we've had four iterations of giving out small grants to the nonprofits, the charities in Sandwich. Now, we are Sandwich focused. We only give to those who live and reside in Sandwich. And so we've had three iterations in November of giving out small grants, and we've given to the Council on Aging, Calmer Choice, Special Olympics.
Oh, good.
We've given quite a few over the years. But now, in the pandemic, we've become more focused, and we can talk about that.
Well, yeah, let's do talk about that. I mean, how important are these funds for individual towns? These nonprofit giving entities. Obviously, you're a foundation, so you give out money, correct?
That's correct.
Right.
And we are affiliated. Yeah, we are under the aegis of the Cape Cod Foundation. So we're quite grateful to them because they do all the back of the house work. Sure. And they vet the charities that we give our funding to. But as I said, there are only four town funds, and the last one that joined us was Barnstable, and we were kind of a model for them. But the importance of a town fund is that we're made up with folks that love this community, have a passion for this community, and actually the four of us come from very different perspectives, and we know a lot of the community. And just to give you an example, in the most recent thing, I was chatting with a young man who grew up here, but who lives now just outside of Boston and works in Boston. And we got to chatting on the phone, and he said, well, what are you doing during this pandemic? I know you have this Fund for Sandwich. And I said, well, we are raising money to give out to local charities. And I said, I talk to the charities. We work with the town to suggest areas of need. I talk to the CEOs or the representative of each of the charities and get an understanding of what they need. That's the importance of a town fund. We know the people who are doing the good work. And so we know where to send the money. So when we ask others to donate, they don't have to go through the effort of making sure that the charity is legitimate or whatever. They get a tax donation by giving their monies to us, and we then know where the hot spots are.
That's great.
And we've given now, we were very quick to do a rapid response award program. We were ahead of almost anybody else, even though we're, as I said, a small group. But we've given out now 5 grants, or no, that's not right, 8 grants to 5 charities in town.
Wow,
We've
that's
given
great.
to, yeah, Council on Aging,
Yeah,
Cape Kids Meals.
yep.
Before the pandemic, we had 120 elementary school children who were food insecure.
You know, and that,
more.
this, what, and if we can just stop there for a sec,
Yeah,
that's what drives me insane is everybody goes, oh, Sandwich, oh, it's a wealthy town. It
Yeah.
doesn't have any issues. There's no drugs here. There's no problems. All the families are, 3.21 children and they're all perfect and they all dress perfect and they're not. You know what? We're a real community that has a lot of terrific people in it. Don't misunderstand me, but we also have the real issues that are everywhere in America.
that is, you're so true about that. We really are working families with these children, she said. And one of the things, well, that was about Cape Kid Meals. Can you imagine? It provides backpacks with food for the children for the weekends. And so that demand has come. We also have given to the Sandwich Food Pantry, the Sandwich Arts Alliance, and to the Housing Authority Corp, the what is it called? Workforce Housing Relief.
Right.
But when I talk to the representatives of each one of those organizations, for example, let's just use the food pantry, they say to me, do you know, and you've probably read the Globe and heard it on social media and everything, but to hear it from, I don't want to call her the horse's mouth, but to hear it directly, her say, we have people coming to the food pantry who've never had to ask for help before. And
sure.
They don't even know how to go about doing it. And,
right.
and it's very stressful to them to have to ask for help. But they've become unemployed, they're rent insecure or mortgage insecure, they're food insecure, and this is in Sandwich.
I
this
know.
Is people in Sandwich. And that's why we've got quickly out there to provide these funds. I hope every dollar that comes in, during this pandemic, we push that out right away.
Good.
Because the need is there and it's building. It's not over yet.
No.
And so that's why we're asking people to continue to donate to us. They can go to www.fundforsandwich.org, just push the donate button. It only takes 2 minutes.
So fundforsandwich.org. Fundforsandwich.org.
Fundforsandwich.org. Exactly. And so we're trying to get more and more folk to contribute. And these are wonderful folks who contribute. And I want to personally, and I do personally thank every single one who contributes. We got one from a young girl, $20. That came from her piggy bank, and then we got a grant for $1,000. So
right.
No grant, no donations too small, no donations too big, but that's the kind of thing. So the young girl from her piggy bank gives $20.
Right.
And then somebody else who's able to give, but mostly our donations are $50, $100.
Well, here's the thing. Sometimes we're not used to giving in I think New England, it tends to be very generous again. However, I think also Americans aren't used to giving like other generations have, because we didn't have to. I mean, obviously I'm at the end of the baby, or somewhere in there in the middle of the baby boomers with my age, right? But my parents, I remember as a small girl growing up on a farm in Ohio, that there would be vagrants that would come. They would call them hobos back then. And they would come up, knock on the door, and my mother would go go out there and sit at the picnic table, and she would make him food. And then she'd make him enough to take with him. And then they would tithe at church, and they
Wow,
would
that's
do those
amazing.
kinds of things. Yeah, oh, it is. It's wonderful. But, I just don't think in our hustle and bustle way of life today, the generations after us and going, like my daughters, although she tends to be very generous, too generous according to her husband, uh, um, that they don't tend to give in quite the same way, I don't think. So I think it's wonderful if that little girl, if her mom said, well, here are your choices. You got your $20. You need to give it away. Here are your choices, that she gave it to you. That really says something.
Well, I think it did too, and we're appreciative of every dollar that comes in. And I have to tell you, when you talk to the people from the food pantry or the Cape Kid meals, or we just made our latest grant was to the Housing Authority Corporation, and her word was, "This is a godsend."
Yeah.
We are so desperate to help these people.
Oh, sure.
And you're right. We open up our hearts, but also let's open up our pocketbooks and help these folks.
Sure, sure. So tell me,
I
Madeline,
love that you grew up in Ohio.
pardon me?
I grew up in Ohio.
Oh my gosh,
I grew up in Ohio,
where in
Worthington,
Ohio?
outside of Columbus. Worthington, Ohio, outside of Columbus.
Worthington?
Uh-huh.
Oh my God, that's where my brother-in-law and sister-in-law live.
Yeah, it's a
My
lovely.
husband, I grew up in Delaware, Ohio.
Oh yeah, that's where my brother lives.
There you go. Ohio Wesleyan is there. And then my
Yes.
husband and I we bought a home along the Olentangy River when we were first married. And
Oh, that's such a beautiful area.
it's like New England, looks like New England.
Yes.
And we lived there for 10 years. And then my husband came home from work one day. We vacationed, obviously, out here every year with our kids, 3 kids. He said, let's move to Cape Cod. And I was so stupid, I went, okay. And we did. That's the story. There's no big shocking surprise. He didn't run off with a redhead or anything. No, we just decided to move. So we chose to live here. And when people say, oh, gee, wouldn't you want to move south? No, I moved from Ohio. I'm very happy here. So all kinds of weather.
Yeah, we are too. But my family moved from here, from Sandwich, because the Wings came to the New World in 1632, and they were one of the 9.
I was just going to ask you about
and
your
they were
wing
one of the
heritage.
9. Right, and they were one of the 9 families that founded Sandwich in 1637, and we were Quakers.
Mm-hmm.
And then my ancestors left in 1803 and moved to Worthington, Ohio. And if you look at Worthington with the town square and everything,
right,
it's very New England.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
So I grew up there, and then my dad raised my brother and me, and that was kind of an unusual thing in the 40s and 50s.
Sure.
To have a single parent who's a male, but he would bring us here like you did.
Yeah.
He would bring us to Sandwich and give us the whole story, and we'd play on the beaches and we would have a holiday here. And then in 1989, I remarried, and I told my husband that I had a really great town for him. He grew up in Florida, and I was never going there.
Smart woman.
Yep. And when we got married, we bought our home here in Sandwich.
Wonderful.
And then we were here 3 years, and I had an offer I couldn't refuse. And for 16 years, he always worked in New York City, my husband, and I was a university president outside of Philadelphia for 16 years. And then we came back permanently in 2008.
Well, what university?
I was president of Westchester University.
Wonderful.
Pennsylvania. It's a large public institution.
Excellent.
in the
Wonderful.
Brandywine Valley.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So when you grew up in Worthington, what street did you live on? Do you remember?
High Street. High
High
Street.
Street. You were right on the main drag.
Well, do you know Ripley House?
I know exactly.
Ripley House. Yeah, well, was the home that I was raised in.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so was my father.
What did your father do for a living?
Um, my father was a public school teacher and a photographer,
Oh, wonderful.
and
Wonderful.
helped my grandfather run the Ford agency. So
Oh
we
my
had
gosh.
the first Ford agency in Ohio.
Oh my goodness. That's wonderful. Well, I didn't know we had so much in common.
Right. There's something about when I run into people from Ohio, there's almost an instant like. There's something
Well,
about us
sometimes.
old Ohioans that you're a young Ohioan, but
Oh,
I'm an
no.
old one. But
No, I'm not young, but
I've
thank
met
you for
so
that.
many.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying I've met so many from Ohio and New England, and we have that kind of automatic connection that but we all love it here. So
Oh, and you know what?
obviously,
You know what's funny though is my husband vacationed here as a kid as well. When he was a little boy from Ohio, his parents brought him here every summer with his other brothers. So there was a family of 4 boys, and we honeymooned here. You know, in 1969, we honeymooned here, and I always laugh. They were just building the Cape Cod Mall at that time. Little did I know I would be their first marketing director in 1982. So. Anyway, enough about us. Enough about us.
Oh, it's great.
Tell me about the Wings. Obviously, you're very proud of your heritage.
Yes, I am. And well, you know, what can I say? I said we came here, and Sandwich was the place. Well, you know, when they came in 1632, they first came to Boston, and you know, the Wings have a way of telling this story, whether it's all exactly accurate or not, but it's our perception. We got to Boston, and of course the Pilgrims were there, and they were for religious freedom, but they were not for everybody's religious freedom. I'll explain it a little bit. Okay, let me back up. So John Wing was a minister of the Church of England and an Oxford graduate. And that was my ancestor. And he and his wife, Deborah, had 4 sons. And he was rebelling against the Church of England. He thought it was too much hullabaloo, and he wanted a simpler way of simple religion.
Right.
And they went to, as many folk did at the time, they went to the Netherlands. And that didn't quite sit well with them. And they came back to Oxford, which was where their family originated. And they decided to come to the New World. And Deborah's father said he would come along too. His name was John Batchelor. Well, as luck would have it, John Wing, her husband, Deborah's husband, died before they made the trip. But Deborah said, I'm going to do it anyway. My father will come with me, and I have 4 boys under the age of 14.
Wow.
And one of the things that always interested me was the boys who were under the age of 14 were considered one of the founding families of Sandwich, not Deborah, because
she was a woman.
So she could not have that honor. Oh, she was head of the family.
Isn't that funny?
So I say it's a really amazing. Say what?
I was going to say she had grit.
She did. She did. She brought the 4 boys, and the oldest was Stephen, and that's my ancestor.
I see.
1 boy went back, and 3 stayed. And Stephen, if you've ever been to the Wing Fort House,
oh yes,
that's his home on Quaker Meeting House.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. So now, um, do you do the big wing? I know every year the wings get together here in Sandwich. I think it's a reunion every year. Maybe it's every other year. I'm not quite sure. Do you go to that with all
Yeah,
the other wings?
we went last year. I'm not crazy about all these big events, but we went last year when it was here, and we quite enjoyed it. Actually, they were every other year they go somewhere else, and they were going to Illinois this year, but they have had to cancel it this
Oh, of course.
year
Well,
because
wait a
of
minute. There
the
are
travel
wings in
restrictions.
Illinois? Wait a minute. I have a question. There are wings in
Oh,
Illinois? I thought they were all here.
no, they're everywhere.
Oh my gosh. Well, there
We
you
have
go.
wings in every state.
Is that right? Oh
Yeah,
my gosh. But they all started here. They
they all
started in
started
San.
here.
It's
Yep,
amazing.
they did.
That's
And
great.
then they started to immigrate.
That's great. So
Yeah,
you were a university president.
that's
You
correct.
what were you before the university president?
Well, one of the reasons that got us here to New England, I had been a professor of urban politics at the City University of New York, Queens College, for
Oh
many
my gosh.
years, and then I became a dean of the system, a dean of academic affairs. And well, I guess I can be personal, right? My son was going off to college, and my marriage had dissolved.
Well,
So
that
I
happened.
wanted to leave New York.
Yeah.
And I became vice president for academic affairs at Framingham State.
Oh,
And so I came to Framingham State. So I was at Framingham State for 6 years,
oh
from
my goodness.
86 to 92.
I see.
And in 89, I married Fred Lane, who was also on the faculty at the City University of New York. That's where I met him years ago. And we were married in 89. We stayed for 3 more years here on Cape,
Yeah.
and then left for Pennsylvania. But he
Excellent.
always, I was always grateful because everywhere we lived, he commuted to New York City. So he had to commute.
Yeah. Well,
A commuting
obviously,
marriage.
obviously you found a keeper.
I did. He was a keeper.
He's keep.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes.
I've been married to him longer than I was married to my first
Well,
husband.
there you go. I always,
Yep.
I've been,
33 years.
how many years? I'm sorry.
We've been married 33 years.
Well, I was just married 50 years
No,
and,
no, 31 years. 30,
oh, okay. I've been married
I
50.
misspoke. 30. Oh
Okay.
my.
I
You were a
know.
child pride.
I was farm girl, Farmer Smith's youngest daughter. What can I tell you? But we've been married 50 years, but after this
Oh my goodness.
pandemic, we may have to renew, we may have to look at that contract. I don't know. It's a lot of togetherness.
Yes,
But the good
it
news is,
truly is. I said
go ahead.
we can get outside a little bit.
I know, may the weather get better. But I laugh because he's very patient, and that's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
It's a
That's
good
a
thing.
good thing.
All right. So
I
if you
don't
could,
happen to have that quality.
oh, I don't either. I don't have it. We're from Ohio, that's why. So,
Yeah, right.
so if you were going to leave anybody with one word or a sentence about the Fun for Sandwich, what would you say?
The Fun for Sandwich has its finger on the pulse of the needs of Sandwich residents at this terrible, terrible time. And we really need everybody to step up and open their hearts and their pocketbooks and please donate to the funforsandwich.org and go there, push the donate button, takes you 2 minutes. No gift is too small, and it is so needed in this community. Now, that's more than one sentence,
I
but
know.
it's from my heart. And that's exactly how my colleagues, Paula, Tom, and Paul feel about it too. We've all been working, we all have other things to do. We all have, some of us are still working a little bit anyway. Mm. And yet we've committed this to our town. We have a passion for this.
That's excellent. Thank
So
you.
I really thank you for wanting to talk to me about it.
Well, you know what? You are so interesting, and I hope I bump into you without a mask on when this is all over with.
Yeah, right. We're looking forward to getting at the end of this tunnel.
I am too.
Absolutely.
I am too. We will get through this. We will.
No doubt about it. No doubt
Yeah.
about it. But
Yeah.
we have to help one another.
Yes, we do.
Great.
So thank you so much. And,
Oh,
I'll see you
thank
around
you,
Sandwich.
Melinda. Thank you for all the work you do. Say
Oh,
again?
I said, we'll see you around Sandwich.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you
Okay.
again.
Take care. Madeline Adler. Oh, excuse me, Madeline Wing Adler? Yes, she's a wing. And to think she grew up in Ohio and I grew up in Ohio and we've never met each other. I mean, Ohio's not, well, it's a big state, but there's not that many people there. And I know a lot of people. So it was so fun talking to her. But what was the most important thing about our conversation today was about the Fund for Sandwich and how they help the community. And all you got to do, give a couple of bucks, you know, fundforsandwich.org. Go press the button, give a couple of bucks. Wow, what a great thing that would be to help our community and the people in our community. All good stuff. So thank you for joining me today. And I have to go out in a little bit, so I better get prepared. Ouch. Yes, sometimes that hurts. My goodness, got to not snap myself. All right, so I'm ready to go out to Stop and Shop. That's right. So I can do this. You can do it too. Put your mask on. You're not supposed to wear gloves because you're supposed to wash your hands and use hand sanitizer. I want to thank you again for joining me today and have a good day. And we'll see you next time on another Fuzzy Slipper edition of Cape Conversations.